Greetings, friends. I hope that you can hear and see okay. Here in rainy... Oui, moi? Oui, je parle dans le microphone. Oui. Here in rainy California, it is a Saturday morning, and we are getting ready to have some tournaments here. Est-ce que tu vois tomber la pluie? Ja? Siehst du das Regen? Das fällt? Oui? Chat humain? Ouais? Ouais. Oh! Toi, tu tombes comme la pluie? Okay, let's send out a Twitter thing that the tournaments are starting. Tu t'en vas? Whoa. Can't be spelling tournaments wrong. Wait, what's that sound? What's going on? Starting the chess tournaments? Is that up there? Yep. What did you eat? It smells yummy. One of them had waffles, one of them had cinnamon toast, and one of them rejected a bunch of stuff you can see on the counter still. Is that daily? Do I want what? I need to know how many of these donuts do you like and how many eggs do you want and how many donuts are we eating? I offered them by text to our neighbors and didn't get an answer yet. Oh. Niece? Which neighbors? Yeah. You texted? That's weird. Is that their plan? And, yeah, I mean... I figured I got one key coming. I just wish I would know maybe... Put it in your website. Obviously, I'll just throw it in and talk to Joe. It would be fun if people wanted to do cases with all of them one at any one. Like, I feel like I want to, but it's too late right now. Who would grab it? We could bring it to... Well, we should... Yep. Okay, I gotta do this for 5 minutes. Sorry, it's a busy place here. All right, I've tooted. Okay. Let's see how we're doing here. Wow. Awesome. $1,900. All right. Very quiet here in
chat today. We had a really fun session of Friday Night Fights last night. No, I mean it's awesome, PB. I remember watching you in these same Saturday tournaments back when you were 1400. So it's just incredible. I mean, 500 points. It's like a lifetime of improvement in just a couple of years. Super cool. Ooh. As I said, there's a lot going on in our house. Oh my god. That didn't sound good. Let's go to clubs here. Yeah, that was a horrible sound. To wonder for a second if everyone was alive down there still. Let's see the 13 to 1700. Nobody there yet. Under 1300. Nobody there yet, huh? Well, maybe people are off for Christmas vacations and stuff. I don't know how many people we'll have around for this tournament or the one next week. We'll see. I'm going to play a game because I've got so few chances to ever move any chess pieces around. So let's just give it a shot. While waiting for the tournaments to start up. Interesting move. This looks logical. What's the idea going to be? Trading an e5? I take on e5, queen here, bishop there. Queen moves again. My structure's weird, but I'm not going to be afraid of that. That's a good boost in development for me. I'm going to accept this. And now, I guess I go here. It's a very interesting position, very different than anything I've played before. Very interesting situation. I want to move my rook, but now the rook defends the rook and my queen can move out finally. Okay, I expected this to come in at some point. Now let's come here. Let's go here. I expect this piece to just retreat, I think. And then once my now I can move my queen out and I'm not worrying about these pieces being undefended. How do I punish this move? Hey Mahim, tournaments are open starting in about 7 minutes. I'm just playing a quick game while I wait. It's a little bit annoying. Let's, I don't know, tempo her. My compensation is a little bit nebulous. Like, I believe it's there, but it's hard to say exactly where and what my compensation is. I've got the idea of putting the bishop here, which the opponent should perhaps dodge out of. I also have the idea of bishop takes g2. Okay, so this move stops everything. Wow, this player is really good. But this move should win in exchange, right? Yeah, they couldn't stop everything. Who's the boss? You had to see that move coming, my dear Rodin Mikhail. I was going to play that move before taking the exchange if you moved your knight away, just to make some use of my stupid f4 pawn. Aye, aye, aye. So now it's going to be like me flagging versus me winning. Maybe they'll sack the knight, because it doesn't really have anywhere they want to move it, right? Like knight a4, bishop takes a4. Yeah, I guess they're going to sack the knight. Well, that should be fine. I should be able to live through that. So I'm just going to put the queen here in a second, or maybe not. That's a lot of pawns. Oh shoot, what am I doing? I really need to stop these pawns soon. Okay, I'm still on the one diagonal with my bishop. Your tournaments are starting in a few seconds, by the way, folks. Okay, I got this game, folks. It was epic. That was actually epic. Tough game. All right, the 1700 plus arena has begun. So we've got Padamundo here playing game one against Aaron. Banalsos against Pixel here. And let's see if the other tournaments kicked off. Let's refresh. You didn't get paired? Upcoming events. The under 1300 Rapid is still waiting to start. It starts in 40 seconds. 13 to 1700 got canceled. Sorry, Hokey Gamer. And under 1300 looks like it will get canceled as well in about 30 seconds. There's only one player waiting to play. So it looks like we only have one tournament today. It's okay. It's the season, I guess. The bishops were aesthetic on A7, on A8. Like aesthetically good or bad, not clear, right, K-Monk? That game was very difficult. That endgame, for me, was strangely difficult to win. Somehow I messed up when I approached with my king initially. Right? We've got a checkmate threat on the board here, huh? Oh, it's bugging out. Queen h5, h6 stopping mate. This bishop still attacked at the same time. Is white playing too aggressively here? They did stop and think about queen h5. d5 played and white stopped and thought. There's lots of other options like trading, playing bishop d3 and so forth. So let's see what the idea is. Trades, hitting the knight. Good, that makes sense. So if pawn takes knight, white isn't down a piece. If black takes with the pawn threatening this, then maybe bishop d3 would be the idea. And if pawn takes knight, checkmate. Okay, so what I'm going to say is we're just going to say that everyone can use the same arena if they want to, okay? So anybody under 1700, today you can play in the 1700 plus arena if you like. It pairs people by rating, so it'll pair you to the person closest to you in rating. So if you like, I'm just gonna make a call and say that this tournament is open to anyone today. Do it like that. Yeah. So anybody who wants to play today and is lower rated, you may join the same tournament that the others are in. Let's watch this game here. I feel like Pixel is taking a very risky tack with Queen H5. I think 40 seconds, I mean, that is stopping and thinking by rapid chess standards, but I doubt that this... Well, I wonder how precisely this was figured out in 30 seconds. I guess White's surviving, huh? They're not losing a piece. Bishop D3, for example, on G6, there's Queen H6. And on Bishop F5, which is probably what Black will play, you get something like this. But then, I mean, even though you didn't lose a piece, if you have to retreat and Black plays this move, it might not be great. Oh, right, we hit the knight. G6, Queen here with the idea of G4 at some point. Super complicated, I guess. Super complicated. I don't know, I just feel like White went in for something really risky and intense, and I don't think that 30, 40 seconds that White had really assessed how this was going to work out, / if it was going to work out. Yeah, it's my feeling there. D4 was the choice. Okay. Not messing with these pieces and the tactics on H7, but just kicking this bishop out to shelter the king on that diagonal while you could. This is maybe a very clever move from Banausos before going bishop F5. And let me explain why. So remember this line I gave? Trades. The knight had to retreat, but that did open up the queen here, so there was a tempo. And now if D4, there would be Queen F5, for example, right? So I was thinking maybe G6, Queen H3, and here we were contemplating D4 because this diagonal's been weakened. But now against D4, there's Rook D1. And the tension around D4 might not work out for Black. It looks like amazing knights. We've blocked out the center with the D pawn, but our rooks are not in play to defend the pawn, and we have to sort of disentangle this situation, plus G4 is looming. So I don't know for sure how this Rook D1 move would work out for Black. Compare that with what Banausos came up with, which was to kick the bishop first. The idea is against Rook D1 that maybe now he could take the bishop. But if the bishop retreats, then he could go for this sort of a thing, like before. And now you've made sure the bishop got off this diagonal. White did play bishop D2, and so that's the live position. Now, Rook D1 was still a super critical move here. The point being pawn takes, check, king here, rook takes. The knight was defending the bishop, so Black couldn't even take it, right? And then against, I don't know, maybe like knight takes, we get this situation here. White has to disentangle these pieces, but for the moment, Black only has a rook and knight against the queen. So if White can disentangle these pieces without losing them, right, like something like this, and this, potentially White might even be winning, right? Queen against rook and knight. We still need to clean up the B pawn, but it looks like none of the Black pieces are in position to support it. So Rook D1 would be super interesting. I'm not sure what move Black had in mind against this, but it was definitely a critical line that the players could have considered at this level. If they had been, 1,000, then, after D4, we'd have probably seen bishop D2 in a few seconds. But because they're 1,900, they're looking at less standard moves, right? You play a move like this, they consider their options. They don't just retreat from the attack. You're always fighting for the initiative, right? You're saying, well, can I throw this in first, right? And leave the bishop here. Maybe then rook D1. Or do I want to try knight F7 check and say they can only take one bishop at a time and evaluate that situation. The games are only chess.com rated Eldorado because they're played on chess.com, but they're not rated elsewhere. Okay, so now the fault was bishop f5. So yeah, following the idea we were kind of thinking of, we get a trade. And I would expect this knight to retreat now, right? Because the threat's really on and white doesn't have any more juice that I see to make mate threats. So I think the knight's going to have to obey physical realities and retreat to either e4 or f3. Maybe e4 is better than f3 now. And then, yeah, black will have to support the knight, either with g6 or maybe queen d7 now. Maybe now we don't have to block the queen out as... it may not be as forced, so we might be able to play more of a developing, coordinating moves. Gefilte Fish, playing in chess.com rapid tournaments as a box, on the task list for the Dojo training program, you're asking. And the answer is no, because it's not, the task list is not stuff that you could do that would be fun or stuff that you could do that would help the chess.com community. It's really a very strict list of the things that someone needs to do to gain 100 rating points. So it includes only exactly what we think the player needs to do, and we don't think that anybody needs to play in these rapid tournaments in order to get better. It's not needed at all, right? So, yeah, no, I mean, we've had fine participation in some other weeks. I think maybe this week people are traveling for the holidays. I noticed yesterday that things were crazy in town with people leaving work early, and I know a lot of people who are traveling today. So that could potentially be it. We had a fine turnout for I can't lie, you know that. But yeah, we had fine turnout for Friday night fights last night. Friday night fights were great. And also Mahim, sorry, congrats to you on your Let's Go, on your big win. I will be right back, folks. I'm going to deliver some food to my neighbors. The commentary is somewhat helpful for some people. I agree, Phil. It's intended to be. Knight e4. Okay, we got that. And now this move also, queen d7, you have to worry about knight c5. It could get a little iffy. Also, there could be something really weird like g4 and bishop h6. Or, I mean, queen h6 if we want to be fancier, but then there's queen g4. So, knight d6, actually that's very logical now. Trade, trade. So black offers a small concession for the queen trade because black has the extra pawn. Queen takes, hurts these pawns. But black's still got a pretty strong passer. The bishop's not crushing yet. And their idea is to eventually poke at the queen side with the knight and rooks. So this would still be a pretty tough endgame for white. So I can understand that doubling a pawn was not enough to get white interested in a queen trade. But yeah, the black queen gets to a great square. White tries to drum something up with bishop h6. Black should defend that threat, and then white still has to deal with this. Yeah, defended. Oh, Banausos is playing this very powerfully. You see how white was trying to make threats or attacks, and Banausos has responded very, very actively. Has played very few defensive moves, honestly, right? Just fighting back. Very nice. All right, folks, I'm going to leave you with the tournament to play and get back to shuttling my kids around to their Saturday activities. B4, that makes sense. Got to save the pawn. Can't really play rook b1, queen d2, can we? So the pawn goes here. But yeah, weak squares all around. You know, black can target the a pawn eventually in an endgame for sure. And the other thing that white has to watch out for is if at some point black can play d3, knight d4 before white can play bishop e3 and stop it, right? At the moment, black's happy with the fact that the pawn is really hurting white's bishop. But ultimately, it's a passed pawn which has that lust to expand, right? And black's dream is to go d3, get a rook or knight on e2, and really like keep getting deeper into white's position, taking away squares from the white pieces. For now, I think it makes more sense to improve the rooks. I don't see how d3, bishop e3 is an improvement for black. Like, you could think you're all clever going after the a3 pawn, but you shouldn't be playing the whole game without your rooks. It's not logical. So, yeah, so I'd recommend some move like rook e8, rook c8, or rook d8. Maybe even rook a e8, because this one's defending your f pawn. But yeah, basically rooks to the e file look good to me. And rook to the d file as well, looking at playing d3, d2 at some point and really going for it with that pawn. We can't underestimate that. Like, if you play for e8, you're looking at, like, are we just going to trade a bunch of rooks at some point? Oh, but you actually prevent rook e1, so that makes this move much more interesting. Actually, however white recaptures, they lose. So, okay, so rook e8 prevents rook e1. That makes it a very interesting move. The other option is you do something like this and this, and basically you're doing a setup where your d-pawn will be unassailably strong. But pieces remain on the board. Man, I really like rook e8 now that I see it prevents rook e1. That's really painful for white. Yeah. All right, have a great day, everybody.